Hello everyone, it's Rebecca here and I'm back with a book haul. I have quite a few books here, so without further ado let's just jump straight in. The first one I have, I believe I picked up when I was in the airport on the way home from holiday recently, and that is Slade House by David Mitchell. This book is quite mysterious. I'm not 100% certain what it's about. It just tells you on the back, on one side of a high wall lies a narrow dank alley, on the other side a sunlit garden, and between them a small black iron door. You just need to open it. Welcome to Slade House. Like, if that doesn't draw you in, what will? The next book I have is Bernard Cromwell's The Last Kingdom, and I called him Cromwell. The next book I have is Bernard Cornwell's The Last Kingdom. Got it right that time. This one I had previously hauled a while ago when I went up to Barter Books. But I got rid of it, and my fiance's dad was getting rid of a lot of books, or his grandma was getting rid, I don't know, basically there was books going, and I was like, me, I want them, I want them. And I re-got this one. I thought, well, I know that I can get them in abundance up at Alnwick if I need to, and rather than having like 8 of them sitting on my shelf, at least if I don't like it and I have to DNF it, it's only one I need to DNF rather than like 20. This one is about Uhtred, who's an English boy who's born into the 9th century Northumbria aristocracy. Now, Northumbria is, let's just say that's where I live. It's easier to say it's where I live. It's not that far away from here, and it sounded quite interesting to me. The concept of having a novel, a historical fiction novel set in my region that isn't Jane Eyre just sort of like appealed to me a little bit, so hopefully I will like it. It gives me the kind of vibes of not quite Game of Thrones, if that makes sense. Book number 3 contains nudity on the cover. If you don't like naked women, look away. It is She by H. Rider Haggard. Yes, it's a naked woman. Yes, I'm going to cover it up. This one was again in the pile of books that were being disposed of, I shall say. And when I read the back, it sounded quite interesting. I thought, why not? It's short, I might as well give it a go. So in this one, it's in regards to She, who is the White Queen of the Amahaga people. She's a woman of legendary beauty, bewitching and destructive. She's waited 2,000 years for the rebirth and return of the man she loved. And she believes it's the guy who's going to explore her land in this book. I think. Maybe. Who knows? I'll tell you when I read it. Okay. Oh, sorry table. Okay. The next one I have is a bit of a doozy. It's Philippa Gregory's YA trilogy so far. It's Order of Darkness volumes 1 to 3, which makes me think there is more than 3. I know Philippa Gregory usually writes historical fiction, i.e. the White Queen, not the White Cream, that would be weird. She sort of writes all that kind of stuff. So going into YA is something that I thought, don't know how it's going to go, but I thought I'd give it a try. Yes, it's huge, but there's 3 books in here. So this one is about a gentleman who's been accused of heresy and expelled from his monastery. Lucavero is recruited by a mysterious stranger to record the end of days. His first mission takes him to a nunnery where the women are showing terrible signs of possession under an imprisoned lady abbess, Isolde. Thrown together by danger, Luca and his true friend Freeze, alongside Isolde and her companion Ishrak, embark on a daring journey across Europe as they uncover the secrets of the Order of Darkness, racing to stay ahead of the end of the world. I love end of the world stuff, like, just from like the books I've read and the reviews on my blog and everything, you can see that I love the end of the world stuff. And yes, I'm looking at the viewfinder all the time because I finally have a viewfinder camera. I love the end of the world kind of stuff in novels, particularly in YA. I find it very easy to read and very enjoyable and fast paced, and it keeps me going. So with this being 3 books, it just sort of saves me having to wait for the sequel and the sequel. So I can't wait to actually get around to binge read this one because it sounds really interesting. This next one I have is another doozy, and it is American Gods by Neil Gaiman. It feels as light as a feather compared to the last one. This is the TV cover edition, and I've been meaning to pick up a Neil Gaiman for a while, but it's about time that I actually decided to buy one, never mind pick one up. I know that Neil Gaiman wrote Coraline, and I absolutely adored the film, which isn't enough to base a book on, but at the end of the day, if it's anything, like if the film adaptation's anything to go on with Coraline, then I know I'm going to enjoy this as well. So this one is about a guy called Shadow who is doing time in prison. Just before he gets released, his wife and his best friend are killed in an accident. He doesn't have anything when he comes out of prison because his wife and best friend are killed in an accident. He accepts a job from a beguiling stranger he meets on the way home, an enigmatic who calls himself Mr. Wednesday. Trickster and rogue, Wednesday seems to know more about Shadow than Shadow does himself. He then becomes sort of a bodyguard, a driver and an errand boy, and I believe it's just about the adventures he gets on with him trying to cope with also the loss of his wife and best friend at the same time without ending up back in prison, because that wouldn't be good. But this one I am looking forward to reading. I don't know when I'm going to get around to it because it is a little bit chunky. So the next book I have is Seven Eves by Neal Stephenson. Had to make sure I was saying that right there. And this one, the cover attracted me. It's just, look at it, it's so bright, it's so vibrant. This one is about a catastrophic event that renders the earth a ticking time bomb. As I said earlier, end of the worldy kind of stuff. I lap it up. Cannot wait to get to this one. Again, it's a doozy. I don't even need to read the rest of it. I just know that it's a ticking time bomb that is Earth, so I can't wait to get to it. And finally, I have a book that still has the buy one get one half price sticker on. Shame on me. But it is called Welcome, That Is Peace Book 1 by Elizabeth Moon. This one is about an admiral who should be going home as a war hero. On her way home, her ship gets sabotaged and I believe she comes out of hypersleep and has to deal with that. She's marooned in a hostile landscape and therefore her and her fellow survivors have to find a way to get home. This one just... yes! This one I picked up because I've recently read Children of Time by Adrian Tchaikovsky, which I'm going to review at some point, besides the point. And I was still very much on a bit of a binge, or a bit of a come down from that book, should we say. So I needed something else to sort of like keep me occupied, something else to turn to, which was this book. So hopefully I will get to this one soon, and it's definitely one of the shorter ones on my pile. So there we have it. This is my most recent book haul where half the books have fell on the floor. But if you have read any of these, let me know down below in the comments, or let me know what you would read instead of these, or what you would recommend based off of these books. Thank you very much for watching, and these are going to fall on the floor. I'll see you all soon with another video. Bye guys!